Hello, guys. It is Dark Dom Dom with a top 5 list of top 5 RPG games for the PlayStation. This is Random Tuesday, by the way. So number 5, Medieval. Now I know you guys are gonna say, "Well, you did that remastered." Well, I'm only doing the PlayStation era, the ps1 versions. The ps1 versions of Medieval were really good. And, just finding all the chalices, freeing all those souls. Hey, it's a really good game. What more can I say? I did a 13 or 14 part live stream. So I live streamed till I finished the remastered. And as soon as I get back to live streaming, I'm going to live stream the original Medieval, the first one. I haven't rigged up anything to live stream Medieval 2. I might just post gameplay videos, but I'm going to work on live streaming that too. Alright. Number 4.
There's one problem. As close as you are, I'm picking up all your sound.
I'll back out.
Owie.
It's okay.
I love you.
Love you too.
Ooh,
And number 4, Breath of Fire. Now, Breath of Fire started out on the Super Nintendo.
I had it on Game Boy.
Yes, they did make like a remastered version for the Game Boy Advance. Sorry, just moving my spot, guys. So, I liked Breath of Fire 3. Breath of Fire 4 is actually my favorite, where you get to play as Fa Lu. Now, Fa Lu is the blue dragon, while Ryu is the red dragon. And there's a bunch of sequences where you go back and forth as Fa Lu and Ryu, and at the end, you know, it turns out they're incomplete. You find out in the game they're incomplete. But the other Breath of Fire games is self-explanatory. You gotta find dragons to bring harmony back to the world.
Hello, everybody, and
Basically, that's what you do on Breath of Fire 4.
Welcome to Minecraft Monday.
So pick it up, guys. Pick up Breath of Fire.
Today is June 8th, 2020.
Okay, now
Start up a brand new game, brand new save file.
3.
And my checklist for survival, I like to make sure that there's animals,
3.
blood,
Legend of Legaia.
House or cave.
One of the best RPGs for the PS1. You have to free the world of the evil mist, and your characters have what is called the Rasu, and the Rasu revive the Genesis trees. Now, the other cool thing about this game is you can use combo moves, you can use spells. There's certain monsters that you absorb into the Rasuru, and that game is awesome. I love the graphics, I love the music. Soul is the best part of the game, gambling.
Until it falls
You can
down.
gamble without getting in trouble, guys.
So now we're gonna go into here.
Number 2,
Wood into a wood
Legend of Dragoon.
Wood makes 4
The-
planks.
One of the
Now we're gonna
another really good RPG
We're gonna place this
that involves dragons, and they're Dragoon Knights, and they have to fight the Winglies. It's a 4-disc game. It's long. It's awesome. There's moves just like Legend of Legina, but it's executed a lot differently. There's Legend of Legaia, but I call it Legend of Legina. But anyway, it is not a bad game. It is actually really good, and the cinematics are awesome. The voices are a bit but when you actually sit there and play the game for hours like I have,
now we're gonna go ahead and just chop.
you're gonna love the character Lavitz. Lavitz Slambert, the Jade Dragoon himself.
It doesn't really matter. What matters is
So, spoiler
you have
alert,
good.
he dies, and that's like the death of the most epic character of the game, and then you just makes you push forward and get revenge for Lavitz. So, 2. Oh! Wait a minute.
There we go.
So, 5.
Just chop, chop, chop. Now, right now, I know I have like a ton of oak wood. So, by ton, I mean I have 10 pieces. Evidently, we're just going around and we're chopping away. I see a good source of cobblestone.
Okay, so had that a little backwards, but I'm getting better with my list, guys. So this is some honorable mentions before we get to 1. Wild Arms. Now, I love Final Fantasy games, but Final Fantasy games mixed with Western. I'm not big on the Western genre, but these games were awesome. Wild Arms 1 and 2. Now, I will include Wild Arms 3 in a different list, and there was a remake of Wild Arms 1 on the PlayStation 2, and I will devise that in another list. So, the first game, you play as 3 characters that have to save the world from the metallic demons, and really, really compelling storyline. Wild Arms 2, your characters are part of an organization to save the world, and not a very bad game. And one more honorable mention, Suikoden, or Suikoden, however you pronounce it. It is a JRPG about war between kingdoms, and the second one is a continuation. Now, these games, with the tactics and everything, are very good. There's a dice game that if you're not careful, you can lose all your money. Teiho and Yamku are my favorite, the fishermen. And then when you get the fishermen together, they do a fisherman attack, which is really useful. Now, for number 1. Persona. I know you're about to say you got a PSP remaster picture. Well, I couldn't find a PlayStation 1 picture of Innocent Sin. It actually goes Persona Revelations, Persona 2, Innocent Sin, and then technically it's a sequel of the sequel? It's Persona 2 Eternal Punishment, which is the 3rd installment. So it's like a continuation of 2, like a 2-parter, and it didn't make total sense to me, but thinking about it now, because seeing like Persona 3, Persona 4, Persona 5 is awesome, but talking about these early
I see some lovely cobblestone now.
Early
pieces of cobblestone for a furnace,
versions of Persona.
3 more for
Atlas has really outdone themselves with this game. Atlas is a very good game company, and Atlas did this some justice. I'm just saying.
Not to mention,
so
spare is always nice.
I'm gonna have a quick surprise for you guys, so I want you guys to just wait right there, just for one moment. So, as my surprise, welcome back, guys, is Dark Dom Dom on this random Tuesday. Since I did 5 top RPGs for the PlayStation, we're gonna do 5 top RPGs for the Super Nintendo. And number 5, Super Mario RPG, my first RPG Mario game before Paper Mario on the Nintendo 64 and GameCube. Now, this was very good RPG. It was, at first, it was a little out there. I never thought Mario would make a good RPG game, but look at Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, or Mario and Luigi Superstar Story. I like Bowser's Inside Story. That one was the best one out of them. So pick up if you can, or put it on an emulator, Super Mario RPG. You will not be disappointed. But if you pick up a Super Nintendo Classic, make sure this is one of the games you play. This is a very good Super Nintendo game. And number 4 is Mystic Quest. It's Final Fantasy. It's a spin-off of Final Fantasy. You don't have 4 people in a team. You have a two-person team, and the graphics are good. The gameplay is good. There's all kinds of weapons to use, all kinds of places to go. You have to free the gems and protect the Earth. It's really good.
Where are we going to put 3 chests?
Number 3.
Well, let's start
Breath of Fire 1 and 2.
Here and here, which leaves us 2.
The first Breath of Fire games I've ever played. One of the hardest too, because when you're like about 5 or 6, you know, if you don't pay really good attention, you can get lost real easily. But I love grinding on this game. I've always grinded on the Breath of Fire games, or on Breath of Fire I'd go fishing on Breath of Fire 4. But anyway,
now this little chest here I usually keep.
These were actually made by Squaresoft. Now, years later, Capcom took over Breath of Fire, and well, a year later, because after the first release, it was by Squaresoft. The second release was by Capcom, so Capcom kind of took the game over after the first game. The first game wasn't bad, and at least Capcom kind of kept faithful to what Squaresoft tried. I don't think it matters the publisher. I just thought the game was excellent either way.
Step number
and
7,
now for 2, Arcana. If you want a dungeon crawler that's a maze game that involves cards, Arcana's your game, guys. You play as a guy named Rooks, and you have a fairy that you have to go through different dungeons and get different elements. I like the fire spirit, I like the wind spirit, the earth spirit's pretty cool, and the water spirit's really cool. The bad part about this game, there is a dungeon called the Icicle Dungeon, and I used to get lost in there for hours. I would not turn off the Super Nintendo until I finished the Icicle Dungeon. You have to have a map by you at all times.
So now I'm actually going to place a block there.
So with that said,
we're gonna put this up here.
Emulate it.
Now we have some
pick up a cartridge. I actually still have the cart, so Arcana, guys, Arcana. Number 1. Now this isn't going to be surprising because my number 1 NES game, Earthbound. Now this is the game I played before Mother. So I always wondered why the sequel was only available. The game wasn't that bad. It was crazy. I loved the rolling health counter and everything. I mean, not everybody dug the idea that you can see your characters, but it still was an amazing game, and Earthbound will always be a classic in my book, and it will always be the number 1 NES RPG, Super NES RPG. So Earthbound is really good. Emulate it, pick it up. It's also on the Super Nintendo Classic, which is about $80. I mean, that's how much mine costs. Maybe they're cheaper now. So, and with that said, guys, that was my top 5. Well, technically a top 10, but it wasn't under the same category-ish. So I just thought I'd surprise you, because Random Tuesday, and we're going to be random as heck. So have a nice day, guys. Keep calm, game on, gaming is life, and have a good day.
I always like to have my sword up first.